Welcome to Networking Unleashed Building Profitable Connections, the show where relationships become results and connections turn into opportunities. I'm your host, Michael Forman, and today we're exploring the future of networking through the lens of education, entrepreneurship, and technology. My guest is at the forefront of Anabasis Academy's innovative approach to learning, blending leadership development with AI driven tools to prepare the next generation of entrepreneurs. We'll dive into how emerging leaders can build meaningful networks, leverage technology without losing the human touch, and use relationships as the key driver for professional and personal growth. Whether a student, entrepreneur, or a seasoned professional, this conversation will give you strategies to connect smarter, lead better, and grow faster. I'd like to welcome to the podcast Sid. I We had a little problem connecting, but we're all here now, and I'm welcoming you to the podcast. And would you please just give us a little bit about your background?
Of course, it's great to be with you and your audience, Michael. And sometimes a little bit of a connection problem gives us more anticipation.
Right. Right.
I'm happy to be here. In terms of background, I'll be pretty short because what I always believe is not me that counts, it's the audience and it's you. I'm an immigrant by background. I came to the States when I was 16, educated here in college, started my first company when I was in college. And then at some period of time, I was a partner of a consulting firm. I worked with very large organizations. Then I started my own firm and did turnarounds. We bought companies and sold them. Then started the other companies, mostly in technology, about four or five of them. A few worked and we sold the companies and a couple didn't work and we learned a lot. And in the past 20 years, and you can see that I'm an old guy, I've been teaching at universities, both in engineering and business schools, and have been making investments in early stage companies. I was the president of Tech Coast Angels, which is the largest angel investment entity, had a venture fund, then sold the company and full circle to consulting as the strategic innovation leader for a very large advisory, a $26 billion advisory company. And now I do three or four things. One is I'm still teaching. Another is that I have a few books and I write a lot. If you search me, hundreds of articles. I'm very opinionated. I still serve on boards, corporate boards, and make investments. And our latest venture is Anabasis Academy that you referred to, which is a fusing a combination of mindfulness, awareness, and entrepreneurship, because everything begins in your mind, and we're all unique, so we have to find that authentic way of making progress. So that's me.
Outstanding, outstanding. And I'm sure you could have gone on for another half an hour just telling me about your background because it is so vast. But okay, so let's jump right into the questions. How does the new approach at Anabasis, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, anabasis. Anabasis, by the way, ana is a Latin word meaning moving up, move
Okay.
up. And basis is obviously the base. So anabasis is moving the base up.
Okay. See, I learn something new every day. How does the new approach at Anabasis Academy prepare students to build meaningful professional networks from an early stage?
Here's First, I've got to explain how the world works now because it's important. Before I can say, hey, this is how it's different. In terms of education, whether it's students at colleges or folks that are going through management training, leadership training, or even motivational stuff, everything that you could see out there is based on a lot of how to's. I'm going to give you a skill and I'm going to give you four things. And then you're going to follow these four things and you're going to get to nirvana. Okay. So if you go at school, when we go to school, they give us a lot of stuff to memorize and then repeat those in circular formats whenever we face those situations. Do these five things and it's gonna work. What that does, it's very good in increasing productivity because I'm getting you to do the same thing over and over. but it's not necessarily relevant or conducive to innovation creativity. Now, we are in a world, if you look at the AI stuff that's happening, look at everything around us, that we're at a transition point. We're at a transition point. And our evolution as human beings is moving towards creativity and innovation as opposed to tasks. The tasks, even the programming stuff AI is doing. So the tasks can be done by somebody else. You don't need a how to follow these 7 steps and do this. And by the way, they say practical advice to do A, B, or C, or become a trillionaire. Those practical advice are practical for who? Because you and I are different. I'm an introvert, you're an extrovert. I grew up in this place, you grew up in that place. You went to the military, I never did. There's so many different, there are 8 billion people on our planet. No two people are the same. So what does that mean to be practical? It just doesn't make any sense. So the idea is, yes, it's good to learn from there's 1,000 books out there, 100,000 maybe on leadership, but no two leaders are the same. No two situations to apply your leadership is the same. So it's how do you look at these skills and become skillful, which is different. It's how do I use my entirety to to be able to do that. Now, so Anabasis Academy is about provoking you. It doesn't think that your mind is like a vase or another container. We don't want to put more water in your in your mind, if you would. We want to be able to ignite a fire because the belief is you have all capabilities in terms of building. We're all built to create better, Michael. We're all built. It's in our DNA. We're not just here to survive. We're here to be better. We all want to do that. The trick is to provoke folks and engage folks to be able to activate the part, which is about being aware of your decisions, being aware of the surroundings, being aware, because if you're aware, you make better decisions.
Absolutely correct. It's that goes hand in hand, of course, with the networking, which I'm all about.
Yep,
But you have to be aware of your opportunities, have to be aware of the people. If as long as you're aware, you can talk with anybody, speak with anybody.
correct. So here's this is a very good segment or way to connect it to what your focus is, which is the networking. A lot of people want to network to sell something. I have this, I want to give it to you. But let's think this for a minute. Let's think about this for a minute. Do you really sell or do people buy?
People
Do you sell?
people love to buy, but they hate to be sold to.
Yeah, they love to buy based on their own decisions. So who makes the decision at the end? They're not you as a salesman, not you as a founder, not you as they make the decision. They for their own reasons. In a networking environment, I'm not there to sell. I'm there to understand their reasons. Why they would buy, why they would engage. Why is it that how can I satisfy what they're looking for? How can I provide the value? Because I don't have that decision. They have that decision. Now, it's the same thing about your employees. We think networking is about outside. Networking is creating a network that produces a better result than an individual. A network is an ecosystem that creates collectively a better outcome. Right? So if you apply the same idea, hey, my employees, they decide if they give me productivity or not. I don't decide how much productivity they give me. I don't decide at 8 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They're really thinking about doing something innovative or doing something better. They decide. So if I realize that, then I have created a network that is based on reasons that drive decisions. The same applies to your investors, the same applies to your partners in business, and actually to the community that you thrive in. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Depending on who you are, it depends on what angle you're looking at it from. It's all the same problem. It's all the same outcome. You're just looking at it from a different way. Absolutely. And that's fantastic. I never thought about it that way. Let me go on. Go ahead.
People usually, this is the thing. If you really listen to what I've been talking about and writing stuff, this is really not rocket science.
No,
No, it's
no,
not.
none of it
Life is
is.
not rocket science.
No,
We
that's,
make it all this rigmarole in order to have these 17 layers and then charge people to do this. And we make it this complicated thing. It's actually pretty simple.
no, I coach people, I coach many people, and I go and I speak on different stages in different companies,
Yeah.
and I tell them all, it's not rocket science. It's all common sense. And really, the 20 somethings, the 30 somethings, they've never heard this before. They haven't been taught this. But the older people, the 40s, 50s, or even 60s, they say, oh, yeah, I've heard of that. I don't do it, but I've heard of it.
I've
But
heard
it's
of
all
it.
common sense. Okay. So, what role does networking play in entrepreneurship, and how can aspiring founders leverage it effectively?
So I talk about a few things. An entrepreneur, first of all, we have to build our own entrepreneurial philosophy, each one of us. And by the way, entrepreneurship, by actual definition, I'm not making this up. This word was defined in the 1700s. That is over 300 years ago. An entrepreneur is someone who has something, who wishes to exchange it with something of higher value, knowing that there is risk. That means you have something. This could be your idea, it could be your talents, it could be you're a basketball player, or you're a good musician, or you have a product that you build. You have something, and you want to exchange it with something of higher value. You have this, you want to give it to somebody else, knowing that there is risk. You may have this, you may not necessarily get what you want to get. Okay, so with that definition, we all have this entrepreneurial ability, regardless of where you are. The seven-year-old child that you have who wants to get an ice cream, they're experiencing their entrepreneurship. Okay, the mother who goes out and works all day and makes $12 an hour and brings that to their kid to go to Disneyland on vacation there, and Elon Musk is experiencing the
Yeah.
entrepreneur. So
Well,
let's take that as now. The question is, how can you experience that entrepreneur? How can you practice it? Okay, you can define what you have. You can define what is of higher value to you. But from here to there, there's risk. From here to there. So how do you accomplish this? You cannot accomplish this without an ecosystem. Period. Because people buy stuff from you, people work for you, people give you money and investment, people partner with you, and you live within a society. These are the five pillars of the earth. Without these five, you're not practicing entrepreneurship as it's defined in any way possible, whether it's at home or in a business. So an ecosystem and network is a must-have. Okay,
a network is an ecosystem. That's good. I'm gonna steal that from you if you don't mind.
no problem.
Okay, let's switch it to AI a little bit. AI is reshaping industries. How can professionals use AI to enhance, not replace, genuine relationship building?
So this is it's a very obviously topical question of the day because everywhere and yes, there are numerous studies that says that within by 2030 we're going to lose in the world somewhere around 800,000 or 500,000 jobs that are completely going to be gone. And if you think about it, that's about a few percentage point of the total jobs available. So it is a challenge. Now, most of the things that are out there, there's a lot of noise out there. Everybody there tries to, oh, let's blah, 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 let's do an LLM and a chat GPT or whatever. And mostly are focused on productivity. Mostly are focused on productivity, meaning, here's what I'm doing, let me do this faster. But remember, if you do things faster, let's say, just as an example, let's say we have a production system. We make these cups and we make 10 of them an hour. But out of 10, one is faulty, it's broken. Now, if I just do this faster, I would do 100 an hour, but I will have more errors. productivity in terms of replicating what you're doing doesn't necessarily mean that you got better. Now, there's multiple tools now if you want to look at capturing people to come into your network, if you call it emailing stuff, or but if the content, if the way you communicate, you don't meet the reasons, it doesn't matter how fast you do it. It really doesn't matter how fast you do it.
Just
So,
depends on how well you do it.
correct. How so if you're doing it well, you can use tools to do it well. If you're not doing it well, just getting somebody else's practical 1, 2, 3 doesn't make you.
Like goes back to the old saying of garbage in, garbage out,
Yeah,
right? So if you
yeah,
put garbage in and you want to make it go faster, that's great, but it's garbage out,
correct.
right?
But
If you
here's the thing.
go
Here's the
ahead.
thing, Michael. This is the interesting part. We have so much noise and people trying to sell things to people out there. So much noise of how to do you get my point about I'm against this how-to business. Everybody's trying to how to this, how to that, and charge people for doing the how to this or how to that. If it's somebody else is doing it and you just copy it, it's not authentic, it's not you, and people will see through that.
Yes, they will. Yeah, because
So
you're not being authentic.
you're somebody else trying to be doing this, and hey, a copy of a copy is just not as good as the genuine thing.
No, it's not. Okay, let me go on. From your perspective, what leadership qualities make someone naturally magnetic in networking situations?
Listening.
Very good. Very important. Active listening. Go ahead. Sorry, didn't
Listening to learn, not listening to empathize. I want to emphasize that,
there's a
because
difference.
there is a lot of hoopla out there. Oh, you listen to empathize with people. No, I listen to learn so I improve my own decisions. This is a very selfish act. I'm not listening to respect others. It does do that, but
That's right.
it's a side effect of things. I am listening because they have their own reasons. And if I know their reasons, I can be a better sales guy. I can deliver better value. I'm listening because they are giving me information that makes my life better. I can make decisions better. I'm not listening to reply. I'm not listening to empathize.
You're
I'm
you're
listening to learn.
you're a problem solver. Okay, so if someone has a problem, you have the solution, you're getting to that. But you can't get to that unless you first find out what the problem is. So by active listening, you're listening to them. And of course, when you respond, sort of what they said to you so that they know that you were listening to them. It's a whole big thing, but it
Yep.
works. Okay, how can young professionals or students strategically network to open doors in entrepreneurship and innovation?
Very good question. So this may vary from most people's perspective. There's two ways of looking at it. I have this product and or I have this mission. I want to be XYZ. And then I begin to find everybody in that environment and then send them emails and do this and do that and blast them with LinkedIn stuff and whatever to create this thing. And I show up at every meeting everywhere. Now, that is like taking a shotgun and trying to hit a mosquito. Okay? For multiple reasons, it doesn't work because A, you can't do that at scale and be genuine. Okay. So yes, it's like having friends on Facebook. Okay? I have, I don't know, 15,000 people on LinkedIn or 10,000 people on Facebook. I do, but how many of them are really my friends? If I have a problem, who would come to my assistance? Nobody. So there is this idea that if I have a broad network of people, that would funnel down to something. This funneling down to something says, I'm going to go as many as possible. And then, okay, I only need 2 people to make my business work. So what happens is you waste a lot of time over here. You're not genuine. They understand that you're not genuine. And then you may get to 2 people. Now, entrepreneurship is not luck. People say entrepreneurship is about risk takers. Risk takers are in Las Vegas. Entrepreneurs are risk navigators. How do you navigate risk? By being authentic. Network with people not because you want to get something out of them, because you want to give something to them. And when you do that, and you're genuine about it, those build relationships that are rooted in trust. And those trustworthy relationships are the network that's going to prosperity for you.
When networking, there's really a whole, there's a mantra. If they know you, if they like you, if they trust you, they'll do business with you. But when you go into a networking event or networking with a person, you're looking to give, not to receive.
That's exactly
Always,
right.
you're always looking to give because the more you give, the more that they will respect you, but also they will turn around and want to give you something. But you're not going to ask for it. You're going to sit there and say, how can I help you? How can I make you more successful?
Because
And
they make, at the end, because they make every decision. This is a fundamentally different way of looking at business. I don't make decisions. They make decisions.
absolutely.
They make decisions. So I have to understand why they're making that decision. Yes, at some point I have to make a decision to get engaged or not to get engaged. I do have to do that, right? But it is their decision that gives me money, that gives me prosperity, that gives me connections, that gives me help. It's their decision. It's not my decision.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, so are there common networking mistakes among founders or leaders,
Yeah.
and how can they avoid them?
I'm gonna go back almost 40 years. There was a guy, and he had a beard. We used to call him H Beard. He used to study. I went to USC, University of Southern California, and he was 4.0 all the way. He was a very smart guy, a genius, super genius, whatever you want to call it. And he had a beard. That's why we called him H Beard. And I remember in those days there were discotheques that people would go to.
Sure.
You may remember those days, but a lot of your audience may not.
I remember discotheques. I'm
Yes.
63.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember.
Okay. We used to go there. We were college kids, so we would go there. And then one night, I noticed this guy came in the door. I was already there having a drink, and he came in the door and he went and he started asking girls, "Would you like to dance?" And then move on. "Would you like to dance?" And then move on. I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "On the average, I have done the analysis. I get 22 no's before I get to a yes. I like to get the no's out of the way." So, one big mistake is people go to these meetings and they think that I'm a good networker. So they go to people to people, people. "Hello, how are you? Okay, okay, thank you very much. Okay, let me get a card." Okay, so what did you accomplish? Nothing. You have a card, and now you're trying to email the guy somehow or another and have a conversation with him. Okay, you have a conversation now. What? Right?
Absolutely.
So it's this idea that volume, quantity is more important than the quality.
I used to be in the mortgage industry, and I would go to networking events. I'd come home with a shoebox filled with business cards. I'd say, look how good I did.
Yeah,
It's so completely wrong that it's unbelievable. So now when I coach or when I do a workshop or anything else, I tell you, say, look, if you go to a 3 or 4 hour event, come home with about 15, maybe 20 business cards. And that's because you are creating that relationship with them and you actually have something to speak about during your follow up because your
yeah,
follow up is so much more important than meeting the person.
correct, correct. So here's the thing, and this is the other mistake. They talk to people. I've seen this, and people come to me, and they immediately, within the first 30 seconds, they're trying to sell me something. "I'm in the business of this. Are you interested in this?" "Well, not really." "Okay, thank you very much," and then
Okay,
they
bye,
leave.
friend.
Okay, so first of all, I don't know who the hell you are. Secondly, you don't know who I am. So why would I need what you have? And for what purpose? There is no trust, there is no relationship, there's no, this is not, you're not selling toilet paper, is that I'm going to Ralph's and pick it up because I've got to go to the restroom. So the idea of knowing each other is more important than selling something.
There goes the relationship part of the equation. We've
Absolutely.
gone from transactional to a relationship based meeting. If you create that relationship, then you'll go much further. Okay, so how can someone balance tech driven efficiency like AI tools with the human touch required for authentic networking?
So what I always say about AI is don't delegate your imagination to AI. Okay? Don't
Okay,
delegate your imagination. Meaning, you have a lot of people now. Everything they want to do, they go to ChatGPT. What about some problems are that people have committed suicide because they go to ChatGPT and use it as a psychologist. Okay, that's it. Because so they some people want the machine to tell them what to do. Okay, because we are trained in this. Remember that go back to our original the conversation that we started with. It's this educational thing that we're used to this tell me what to do, and if I'm good at following orders, I should get something at the other end. So this is now a machine telling us what to do. Okay, call, do this thing. Here's the email. Send these 3 emails. Guess what? They gave exactly the same. This machine is giving exactly the same advice to about 1,000, if not 10,000 other people who are asking it about networking. So all those people out there are going to get emails that looks exactly the same like everybody else. So you
yeah,
just lost your edge.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
don't confuse efficiency with effectiveness. Effectiveness comes from you and who you are and what you bring to the table, how trustworthy you are, how you listen, how you address problems, how you build relationships. That's effectiveness. Efficiency is how quickly you do it.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
a and it's a choice that people have to make. That's what it's a conscious choice.
It's a conscious choice, but you have to train yourself or themselves or to do it the right way. Because
Yeah.
when I said I went to the school of hard knocks, I did everything the wrong way because I had to train myself to do things the right way. And once I trained myself in doing things the right way, then I was successful.
I think the key word there that I want to emphasize is I have to train myself based on who you are. I am a horrible networker. I'll be very honest. I'll go into you put me in a room with 3 people, 4 people. I'm very effective because I can build relationships. You put me in a room with 200 people, I'm very ineffective.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to know you got to know who you are. So my
Right.
objective is when I go there is to find 4 people, not 25, not 15. My objective is to find a good conversation because I know I'm horrible at getting this thing. I'm going to fail at the end. So my success is, can I find a friend? I'm here for 2 hours. Can I find somebody to have a good conversation and learn with and trust with? And I'm looking for how can I help?
That's
As
it.
opposed
That's it.
to taking business cards. But that's
Yeah.
me. My point
Well,
is, you have to find your authentic approach.
yeah, that's you, but that is the correct way in order to network in today's environment. So by you going there and wanting to connect with somebody, become friends with somebody, that's building your relationship, and you get than far more ahead than that transactional.
Yeah.
So it goes a long way. In the entrepreneurial world, how do you identify the right people to connect with versus just collecting contacts? We just went over it.
I think we just went over it. But the key is, if you listen and is there something I can do for somebody?
You are a problem solver. Always remember
Okay.
that. You are a problem solver.
Those are the people you have to connect with, not the ones that solve your problem. See, this is the thing. We look for, hey, I need cash flow, so I need somebody to solve my problem. Let's go and find people who can give me money. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Okay. What lessons from education and leadership training translate directly into building a strong professional network?
So all of us are leaders. We may be bad leaders. We may be ineffective leaders, but we all lead something. We all lead our own life in some way. We may lead a team. We may lead in the right environments that we create and we choose, and we feel confident. We lead. It's part of life. Now, we may not have the confidence to lead properly because we think I don't know enough as much as Michael, so he is a better leader than I am. Maybe in some situations he's a better leader than you are. Now, I use the example of the Eskimo have used these dogs, the slate dogs, or what do they call them?
Sure.
Yeah. So there's usually 10 or 12 or 16 of them. Now, here's the thing. They each have a role. And by the way, in different terrains, they move the guy who's in the dog that's in the end, and that guy leads. And they bring him forward because he knows how to lead in a situation and then they switch him around and some lead in a different way. So the lead dog, which is a term people use a lot, the lead dog doesn't have to be the lead dog all the time. You lead based on situations. Now, that comes from your confidence. That comes from it does come from your education. It does come from skills, but every situation requires a different kind of a leadership. You're in a war, that's a different kind of leadership. Then you're leading a 5-year-old, you're the coach or leader in a 5-year-old soccer game. It's a different leadership. You're a mom and you're leading the efforts at home of who gets up at what time and who gets the stuff and who goes to school at what time or who does the homework. It's a different thing. You lead Microsoft or you lead a donut shop. You lead them at different levels at different areas. So connecting that to your networking thing. In every situation, every conversation, we're either leading or following or both. Being able to realize how to lead or follow, like this late dog, how to lead or follow in that conversation makes you a better network.
Good. Okay. Let's bring this podcast full circle. If you could give one actionable networking strategy to anyone looking to accelerate their career or business growth, what would it be?
One tangible, actionable. So I would avoid to go out there and obvious, those are obvious things. What I would say would be tangible is the practicing before you network. So let me explain what I mean. Think that you're networking with your mom's friends or with your uncle's friends or with your cousins or with the person who's at the grocery store. Practice listening. That's a safe place. You're not selling anything. Learn how to listen. Learn how to appreciate who people are and create a conversation. Do it in a safe place. And when you get that ability to connect with people in a genuine way, in your own way, then you have the skills. And there are thousands of books and capabilities and experts like yourself in terms of how do you get bigger networks and whatever. Then you have the skill set or the skillfulness to be able to apply. That would be my advice.
That was great. That was absolutely great. There's so much more that I want to ask you or talk about, but time won't let us. So, if somebody wanted to get hold of you for whatever the reason, what's the best way for them to get hold of you?
My email is sid@mohasseb.com, which is, you see it on the screens at Mohasseb, my first name at my last name.com. I also want Michael to mention the Anabasis Academy where we started, which is where we provoke and engage. We have a lot of stuff, and the membership could be is $1 forever. And then the next level is something that people have paid forward and sponsored folks. Because I believe that if I'm provoked and if I can put my own authentic self together, if I practice my entrepreneurship in the way I defined it, of realizing what I have and exchanging it for something better, we will live in a much better world.
I
So
agree.
I'd like to invite everybody, and they can go there, anabasisacademy.org. They can listen to our wake-up calls. They could become a member. They can apply to be sponsored by clicking on sponsor me, and somebody would pay for them. So let's get engaged. Let's provoke each other. And we say this is a learning platform. We learn from each other. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I do not have. We at the Academy do not have a 1, 2, 3 solution for you. I'm not going to give you something that's going to make you a trillionaire tomorrow. But we'll together learn how to evolve and how to be better in our own authentic way. So that's a sustainable growth.
It sounds fabulous. Sid, I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate everything you've told me, taught me, and I hope to speak with you again soon. God bless.
It was a pleasure. God bless you and all of your audience.
Well, hold on, folks. Don't go anywhere. Let's hear from our sponsors. David Neal, co-founder, Revved Up Kids. Revved Up Kids is on a mission to protect children and teens from sexual abuse, exploitation, and trafficking. They provide prevention training programs for children, teens, and adults. To learn more, go to revvedupkids.org. Henry Kaplan, Century 21. When it comes to making the biggest financial decision of your life, leave it in the hands of a proven professional, Henry Kaplan. Henry is a global real estate agent with Century 21, celebrating his 41st year in business. No matter where you're moving, Henry has the right connections for you. You can contact Henry at 561 427 4888. A huge thank you to our guest for sharing such incredible insights today. And of course, a big shout out to you, our amazing listeners, for tuning in and spending your time with us. If you're interested in my digital courses, being coached, or having me come and talk to your company, just go to Michael and fill out the request form. Remember, networking isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. So take what you've learned today, get out there, and make some meaningful connections. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who could use a little networking inspiration. Let's keep the conversation going. You can find me on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, or my website, forman.com/podcasts.